Hello and welcome to the Success with Savita podcast, where we share hot tips on how to do life and business without losing your mind. I'm your host, Savita Nanjappa, entrepreneur, high-achieving 9-to-5er turned transformational success coach, helping you create a wildly successful business. Come hang out with me and other fabulous humans like you every week for stories and chats packed with a healthy dose of tips, resources, how-tos, and real talk. Side effects may include a happier and more confident you with each passing day. Hi, and welcome back to the Success with Savita podcast. I know that I've been away from doing these solo episodes, but I do have a lot to share with you about everything that went down in the last 2 months. A lot of great things have happened in the last 2 months in terms of life, business. There have been events. And usually March has always been a busy month in terms of work because it is International Women's Day on March 8th, and also the whole of March is Women's History Month. So typically it's a busy time work-wise, and this time especially so because there was some travel that came up, and I'm going to tell you more on that as we dive into this episode. So what's today's episode about? I decided to share a little sneak peek into behind the scenes of running and growing a business, but also a little bit about what's been happening in my life. And I'm not really sure if you're going to find this interesting or insightful in any way, but I thought it's a good idea to make an episode about everything that has been going on in my life and to share with you all, my audience, about how I've been managing in terms of organizing, planning, the support that I have. So with that, let's get started. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. Let's see how it goes. So I call this a bonus episode, and we're going to be doing a few of this before we hit our upcoming 100th episode, and more on that later. To start off with, the end of February is my daughter's birthday, and this time it was a milestone birthday for her as well. She turned 10. So we started our February off. So we ended February on a high note because we had this beautiful art-themed birthday party for my daughter and her friends. And I love hosting events. I love hosting parties. And I like to work with a specific event planner, event decorator. And it's called, this brand is called The Whole Nine Yards. I'm going to share some pictures from that event onto my Instagram so you can go have a look. But she did such a fantastic job. The adults and children alike were really happy and excited about the theme, the decor, the bouncy castle that we had, all of that. So it really ended on a high note with this lovely, lovely birthday party. The one thing that I like about the people behind the brand, The Whole Nine Yards, who did the event decor, is I just discuss the theme and then I leave it to them because, I think we're on the same wavelength as far as taste, what I expect, what I like. I really like her work, and I just need to show up. And she organizes everything right from the dessert table to the themed cake, the decor, the activities to the games, all of that. So that started at the end of February, and by the time we got into March, I was already coming in on a high. But March was special because, not just because in terms of work, it's a busy month, but this time I had planned a couple of things that was going to happen in March. One was I knew this year that it was going to be the 10th birthday. So I really wanted to do a bit of a blowout birthday party. But also something interesting that happened this March was last year when I was planning my goals and plan vision casting for 2023 and how I wanted to build the brand. One of the things that came up was that I did want to do a sort of solo work business retreat. When I was doing my coaching program, it was a year-long program, and every 3 months we would have workshops around the world, in Dubai, in Mexico, in Cannes, and we would meet at these workshops, and it really helped in terms of how we were building the business, the learning that we were having, the breakthroughs, the personal development, the community, the networking, all of this used to happen. And I realized over a period of time that I need to find these kind of events because I really like them and they kind of re-energize me. And I was missing them. And of course, a 2020 pandemic, this was in 2018 that I finished the program. 2019, I hosted my own retreat. And then 2020 was when the pandemic hit, so I couldn't do anything for the last 3 years. So I decided that this 2023, I was definitely going to do some sort of a retreat, more than one, maybe attend more conferences, maybe attend more work and industry events. That was definitely on the plan. And when I was looking for an event that I could be a part of, and I'd been following this group for a while online, it's called BHX Project, and they take together different creators, entrepreneurs, founders, and go to a destination, and together they spend time over a week working together, working on challenges together. So I knew that I wanted to do this. I looked them up, and this was the end of November, December, right? And I signed up. I saw that Meghalaya was happening in March, and I didn't want to do something in Jan or Feb, so I signed up for the March event edition in Shillong, Meghalaya, forgetting that it was bang in the middle of Women's Day. But cut to, you think March is a long way off when you're in December, and somehow the year has just run away with us. It's 5 months. We're going to be hitting May anytime soon. And we are almost down to the fifth month of the year. So March came on really fast after New Year's. And before I knew it, by the time I was done with his birthday, I was planning and preparing to go to this event, which was a week long between March 6th and the 11th. And I actually spent Women's Day, which is March 8th, in Meghalaya. So more on that, because I'm going to do a whole episode on what this edition was about, what my own lessons were from this, and how it kind of helped me. If that's of interest to you, I'm going to do a whole episode on that. So I did that. I planned for 6th March that, but before that, the week before that, the other thing that I planned for this year was to spend time networking. I think we are all tired of online events. We want more connection. We want more community. So Ladies Who Lead launched the Bangalore chapter, and the founder, Abba, had suggested that I be the Bangalore champion and help, support the chapter here in Bangalore, which I was very happy to do, which meant that I couldn't hibernate anymore, work from my office, work from my home office, and just, which has been going on for a while, that I've been a solopreneur and not really meeting people in person. So this got me again out and about, and I've been going to the events since December, but, there are 2 events per month in the city, so I've been going to them. So there was this event, which is a social event actually, which they call the Access events, which LWL had got us passes to go to the turf club here for the annual races. And it's my first time. While we've always had a turf club in Bangalore, there's always been the races here, which was always a popular social event. I somehow never had gone to this event. It wasn't just something that was part of my social circle, I guess. No one I knew in horse racing either, and it wasn't of particular interest to me. Interestingly, that week, the first week of March, started off by going to this event, and I will tell you, I'm so glad I did. It was an experience, and it's thrilling. The races are thrilling, and and I really enjoyed it, surprisingly. So I went with a group of friends, and we had a little lovely day out. That was on the first weekend of March. And then cut to 6th March, I left to Meghalaya. Spent a week there, came back, and, mom duty. There was a birthday party that I had to take my kid to, followed by the week started off with onboarding 2 new clients to my high ticket coaching program, which is exciting always for me, obviously. And then promptly in the middle of the week, I had also agreed to go celebrate a dear friend's milestone birthday in Jodhpur, Rajasthan. And I really thought long and hard about it. I was supposed to be there for 2 days, but because I was coming back from Meghalaya and I knew it's going to be a really difficult time, I mean, not difficult, but a hectic schedule for me, I decided to go for just 1 night instead of 2, which may not have been the best idea, but it is what it is. I went the second week of March, the end of the week. I spent 24 hours in Jodhpur. It was an interesting experience, and I'll tell you why. Because my friend, who has this zest for life, and who curates really beautiful, who curates travel, put together this event. And it was a 2 day celebration in a 4th century fort in Nagaur, which is 2 hours away from Jodhpur. And it was my first time to Rajasthan. And wow, what an experience, and what a first experience to experience this fort firsthand. And there's a part of the fort has become a hotel, converted into a hotel, a beautiful hotel with havelis. And we had this bling night, and there was this walkthrough of the fort. Everything was just, it was magical. And I can never forget this first experience. And so I spent that night over there with this friend of mine and the group. And then I came back. And then the next day, I was heading back to Bangalore, but I had some time before I could catch my flight. So I wanted to make the most of it. And I did not want to leave Jodhpur without experiencing the majesty of Mehrangarh Fort. I went to the fort. I took a cab, went 2 hours into Jodhpur, went straight to the fort, hired a guide, okay? And I told the guide, listen, I've got 1 hour, and you've got to kind of, give me the lowdown and take me in, make sure that I see the best parts of the fort. I won't have time to linger, of course, but I would have seen it, and I cannot leave this place without, experiencing this. So I did that. Could have worn more comfortable shoes. That's a different story, but it was quick. The guide was fantastic. He gave me so much history about everything that had gone on in that fort, and you should look it up. I'm going to share the links to the Mehrangarh Fort Trust. I do have pictures, which I will also again share on my Instagram. I've been savoring it. I haven't been posting a lot about Meghalaya or Rajasthan because these memories have been magical for me, just magical. Came back from that, went straight to, which was a Friday, and then I went straight into the weekend, which was the craziest weekend I've ever had because of a couple of things. I had a client, a dear client of mine from Mumbai, who's also a friend, who's now, of course, a friend, and we have a great relationship, was visiting Bangalore, and we wanted to catch up. So we did that. So I got up for a quick lunch with her, drove straight to, I was on mom duty and driver duty, driving my kid to yet another birthday party. That weekend there were two. It's because most of the kids are the same age, and they're all celebrating their big 10th birthday, milestone birthdays. So, March, April, quite a few parties. So yeah, we did that. I drove my kid to her birthday party, came right back, and that evening shared a sleepover with her friend, followed by the next day. There was supposed to be a quick lunch with the girls, most of the girls in the BHX program, which was in Meghalaya. Most of the girls were from Bangalore, so we were doing a quick catch up over lunch, which was very close to my place, of course. So I made that happen. I went for 30 minutes. I was like, I'm not going to stay, but I don't want to not, see you guys. So I did that. Then drove my kid to her next birthday party. Now I'm birthday partied out. I can't do any more. But yeah, so that happened. And then the next week was a huge week for me in terms of work because there was a business excellence session that Ladies Who Lead had with the founder of, CEO and co-founder of Zerodha, Nitin Kamath. And I got the opportunity to be on the panel with him and interview him live, of course, with an audience, no pressure, for the podcast. And that's going to be our 100th podcast. I wanted to keep it a surprise, but it's not really a surprise if I'm sharing the background, right, with you. But it has been the highlight of my podcasting career. I'm really excited to bring that episode to you. So that was a big moment that week for me. And later that week on a Friday, I went as an audience member this time to an event that Ladies Who Lead, in association with the Dell Women Entrepreneur Network, was hosting at the Dell office in Bangalore. And this was a panel discussion with the focus of the theme being around the United Nations International Women's Day 2023 theme, which is Digital Innovation and Tech for Gender Equality. I got to listen to an insightful discussion on this topic from the panelists who were, again, leaders in their own fields, in their own space. So that was interesting. That was the 24th March, and that was interesting. And then I got back to work, got down to brass tacks. This was followed by, before I could blink, we were celebrating the birthday of one of the girls from the Meghalaya trip on April 1st. So that happened on the weekend. And then I had to do the not so exciting part of having to move out of our. We have a place that we go to on the weekends, and we were giving that up. We were moving out. And I had to move out, so which means I work just half a days because the other half a day I would. It's a little away from central Bangalore district, an hour's drive, and I had to go and start to move things out. And I will hate, and I'm sure all of you will agree that I think two things which I found stressful: organizing a child's birthday party and moving out of your house. Wow, both are really stressful. And I'm sure one is more stressful than the other, but this was something that I had to do. So that whole week of April, between the 1st to 10th, went through this, went on this move out. And then, I was trying to also catch up with work in between all of this. And then summer camp for basketball started for my child, but halfway through, she had to quit that because she got chosen for the swim team in school. And I had to take her for a couple of practice sessions before her swimming competition, which also came up very suddenly after she got chosen, like within 4 days of being chosen. And the swimming competition begins with the person jumping into the pool from outside, which my child wasn't used to. So I had to get some coaching done for her. So mom duties, a lot of mom duties. I finally really, I would say, settled back into my routine, got back to working longer hours, the ones that I like. I like the long hours in my work post Easter, actually. And as I'm recording this, I've just got done with hosting the Breaking Barriers event, which is hosted by Women's Web in Bangalore on the 22nd. I was the MC and host for it. I enjoyed doing this. I got to meet so many business owners. The panelists were fantastic. There was so many takeaways. There was someone from Google as well who was sharing about the startup program, which was so interesting. You guys must check it out. I'm going to share a link because the cohort women's startup for women founders, there's a specific cohort that starts May first week. So I'm going to share that link as well. I've got that for you. And so check the show notes if that's something that you're interested in. So, this is what my last 2 weeks have looked like. And the Breaking Barriers event, a little bit about that. Breaking Barriers is actually a platform which is designed to bring together ambitious women in business with diverse experiences. And it has been a learning platform that has helped women start and scale businesses, find resources, build a supportive network, peer network, and find a supportive peer group. And since it started in 2015, Breaking Barriers has connected a lot of women entrepreneurs with a ton of experts in their respective industries. And it was a really interesting event. But yes, that was an interesting event, my first time hosting as well. So the reason that I'm sharing this whole calendar, you must ask, like, why am I really interested in knowing what you've been up to? The reason that I'm sharing this is because I thought about this and I had a few things to share, my few takeaways to share looking at my schedule, because it's not always I have such a hectic schedule. I don't like it to be so hectic. I love travel, of course, but I like to really pace myself, being that I have multiple priorities. And what I wanted to share with you are a couple of things. If you also have a crazy schedule, things are busy, then maybe this will help. My learning from this has been, looking at my past 2 months, has been, number one, know your priorities and be really cognizant of the different roles you play. Some of us are parents, some of us are in a partnership or in a marriage. We're also, siblings, daughters, sons, to our parents. You want to bring the best of yourself to each of these roles, right? You're also running your business, you're also running your career, maybe you have a team, you have staff, and you want to give the best of yourself to every one of these. So therefore, it's really important to know what your key top 3 priorities are, and make sure that you don't drop the ball on that. And then if your routine, your schedule, your time and capacity permits, do make sure that you make some time for each of the other priorities which are not in the top 3 as well, because it is important and you don't want to go through burnout. Having said that, so that's one. My other takeaway is to say no a lot and know when to let go of FOMO, a fear of missing out. It's okay if you miss out as long as your priorities, that thing that makes you happy, that thing that matters the most to you is going well. But if it's something among your priorities, sometimes you've got to make it happen. You've got to stretch yourself. And that's where, you have to understand that there are going to be seasons, there are going to be phases, there will be busy times, and there will be times when it's more quiet, more routine. You can stick to your daily routine. And, so it's good to know what and have an outlook of what is coming up for you and prepare yourself accordingly. So you can actually make it work for you. You can enjoy the busy phases as much as you enjoy the quiet times and not feel burnt out. That's a great place to be. My third takeaway from this is, I think for me, for example, as a month as hectic as March, it was such a mix of social, personal engagements, events that I was doing to build my own network, to build my own brand, to add to my own learning, was to also make sure that while I'm doing all of this, to pace myself and make sure, I don't drop the ball on my child's activities as well, because she also has a calendar. Me or my husband are the only people who can do it, unless, of course, we get more family members to help. So planning and organizing is really critical. So having a team at home, at work, it really helps. So, forecast this, plan for this well in advance. If I hadn't put my support team in place, if I hadn't got, my husband also has been having a busy time at this, but we had to kind of coordinate our calendars a little bit and make it work, because I really wanted to do Meghalaya. I really wanted to be there for my friends' 50th. I really wanted to be, meeting whoever was in town from the Meghalaya group. I wanted to meet my client. I wanted to be at those events. So as much as I'm saying I'm trying, I've made an effort to balance it all out, and by making sure that I'm asking for help when required, and also making sure that I'm highly organized, because let me tell you, something as simple as getting to a birthday party for a child means there's some prep, and that prep is you have to organize the gift, and sometimes the invites are just a week's notice, and you may order something online, but it may not come on time, which means you need to go to the physical store. So really planning your time and organizing for well in advance is important. And one key lesson from everything that has happened in the last 2 months is to try not to do more than one activity per day, unless it's completely unavoidable. And those times when it's unavoidable is because either you said yes a lot, or it's just, it's the time, it's the phase, it's the season. Sometimes during a festive season, you may have many invites, and that's okay. As long as it's not an everyday thing and it's a one-off thing, I think it's all manageable. And yeah, with that, that's a peek into what has been happening behind the scenes of my business. Business has been ongoing during all this time. Of course, it's really good. I managed to do a couple of workshops. I did a lot of podcast interviews. I gave a couple of talks, besides also attending other people's talks, right? And work-wise, bringing on new clients, making sure that the clients are onboarded right, making sure the coaching calls are well planned on the calendar. And finally, April is also the time when our yearly internship program kicks in, and we get a few interns. We have a campus program in place that begins every April and goes on for a month, where interns come in, which means it needs my extra attention, because we are orienting them, training them, hand-holding them as they spend a month working on the business with me. And so that's what's been happening on the business side as well. I hope you liked hearing what I had to share, and it may feel like a lot, but I assure you not every month looks like this. And if you liked hearing what I had to share, let me know. And maybe if this interests you, we could do similar episodes in the future as well. Thank you for being patient and listening. Tell me what you think about the episode. Leave me a review. I hope the review is good, but happy to hear what you have to share with me. And of course, if you like everything that I shared, and if you like the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating. It really helps us get the word out there. thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode and you want more, you can go to the show notes on my website, which is successwithsavita.com/podcast. If you like what you've heard so far, I would be grateful to you if you could leave me a 5-star review, subscribe to this podcast, and share with a friend who may find this useful. You can also follow me on my Instagram at successwithsavita and DM me any questions you may have, and I will be happy to answer them for you. Until the next episode, believe in yourself and all the best to your success.